You're dirty, Harry.
I'm a what?
Welcome, everyone. Whoa.
Welcome to Classic Movie Banter. You know that show where this guy Brenton and that guy Nathan, we talk about movies that are 20 years or older. 20 years!
Yeah, that long. It's pretty impressive.
that long. Yeah, so that kind of puts them in the classic category, some would say. And so we talk about these movies and we tell you whether they're worth still watching today or whether they're worth like getting like the Blu-ray disc or the DVD disc or your VCR and like putting it on a shelf, you know what I mean? And then like taking a step back and like raising your revolver and just like doing some target practice at it.
That'd be pretty great, man. Who wouldn't want to shoot some DVDs?
I mean, hey, why not? I feel like the only thing is you'd have to wear some goggles so like the shards wouldn't fucking fly into your eyes and blind you for life. But you know, maybe you're just like Harry and you like to like live on the edge. You know what I'm saying?
You do like to live on the edge. Speaking of Mr. Brenton, Harry himself, not Potter. It'd be great if Harry Potter was in this movie.
Oh shit! I watched the wrong movie. Fuck.
Oh no! Brenton watches like when Harry met Sally, like every movie like with Harry in it.
No. I watched Harry Potter, but like you know, I thought when you said Dirty Harry, I thought you meant like.
Did you watch the porn parody, Brenton?
I did.
Oh.
Yes.
By the way, 100% there's a porn parody of Dirty Harry. Like the name lends itself to it. Like.
For sure. But hey, no, I did watch that porn parody, and as you can see from our show notes, they're quite different at the moment. So.
Oh no.
That's the reasoning behind that. Could you imagine if we just did like two separate reviews? Like we just started talking, like we hadn't like sorted this out beforehand. Like we just like jumped straight in, and I'm like, yeah, that scene when so and so did that and put that and so, and you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember a sex scene between Harry and the criminal, and you're like, what did you watch? And I'm like, what did you watch? And you're like sheepishly like open up your phone, and I'm like, oh no.
Clear that history. Anyway, so
we're here today to talk about an iconic film, like a film I think we've wanted to do for ages that we've never gotten around to. So. Like, Dirty Harry. We've referenced the monologue with no context for it. So, like, it's time we actually dived in, Brenton, and watched this movie.
I'm not going to dive in. I'm going to do a bomb dive in and get straight into this. But Nathan, before, like, it's not my job to dive in this week because, Nathan, I do have a question for you. That is, can you please pitch me Dirty Harry?
Oh, okay. Jesus. It's like we're standing both at the top of the diving plank and like you're about to jump in, but then you shove me instead. Like, oh no. I fucking belly flop in. Like, oh dear.
Like we make a deal where we're like, hey, let's jump into the pool at the exact same time, like off the highest diving point. And then I go 1, 2, 3, and then you're like loyal ass just like fucking like flings yourself over into the water and I'm just up there like laughing at you, and then I just climb back down sheepishly and go to the change room. You're just like, fuck that guy.
Brenton, is that how this movie should have ended, frankly?
Nathan, I feel like that should have just been the movie. Just short film, Dirty Harry. And it takes,
he did the criminal a dirty, didn't he? Like
Totally. It's like he's not even like diving into a pool, he's diving into a bath to like clean himself. Like it's like fucking hell, Harry, like for the last time you were too dirty, like, and you can't be turning up to the office like this. Get in that fucking jacuzzi right now. Here's a bar of soap.
Oh my goodness.
And get yourself sorted, mate. That hair, it's fucking disgusting, mate.
This whole movie is just like various parties just trying to get like a bar of soap on him, but like Clint Eastwood keeps dodging it. Like, what Dirty Harry is, it's the movie Tag, like with Jeremy Renner, but like instead of being tagged, it's soap.
I haven't seen that film, but like I imagine that it'd be like pretty funny to watch. Like even just like characters like try to like sneak up on him, and they're just like they pull like a bar of soap like slowly out of their pockets, and they try to sneak up behind them, and then you just wheels around and fucking shoots them in the head, and he like runs away.
like it's a really violent version of it. Like,
yeah, he's got like fucking dreadlocks because his hair's like matted so much and shit, like from not washing it, and he's just like,
okay, so imagine Clint Eastwood with Don Cheadle's hair. It would work. This movie I'm pitching right now, this is immediately so much better. Like this is in every way, shape or form what the movie should have been.
Nathan, what is Dirty Harry? The actual Dirty Harry. Because I need to know, because like we're getting off topic here.
All right, funny us doing that. Okay, so I'm back in the office, Brenton. It's the 70s, and
holy fuck! Right.
Oh no!
Gosh, everyone's racist, and there's lots of
you're wearing like leopard like print on. That's like a full one piece.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know your style. Well. So, Brenton,
you know me.
I want you to imagine a movie. Okay, are you familiar with the city of San Francisco?
I mean, I've never been there myself, but I am familiar with it, you know. The fucking bridge and shit, and, you know, everyone's liberal, and, you know, it's a good time. There's like trams everywhere, and fucking like Tommy Wiseau, sorry, is, you know, riding the trams and, you know, having sex with Lisa with pedals, you know.
Could you imagine Tommy Wiseau in this movie? Like, oh, it'd be great.
Holy fuck, dirty Tommy. All right.
We're just coming up with better ideas for this movie. Anyway, so this movie, it's in the city of San Francisco. It's the early 70s. And Brenton, it's pretty much Gotham City. Crime is ridden everywhere. Bloody crime is left, right, center. Look under your seat, Brenton. It's crime. It's just everywhere.
Oh shit, better swap seats. Continue.
And so only one man can put an end to the crime in New York City. And that's...
Batman?
Yes. But sadly, Batman's unavailable in the 70s because Adam West is like, I'm not doing this movie. Although it would have been great if Adam West was the one hunting down the serial killer.
It'd be pretty awesome.
It'd be pretty amazing.
But who is hunting them down?
Clint Eastwood, Brenton. There's
right.
a guy who's not the Zodiac killer, but is pretty much the Zodiac killer. He's terrorizing San Francisco, and so only Clint Eastwood. He's a man who bends the rules, and he answers all questions with a bang of his gun because he's Dirty Harry, and He's running about and he's trying to solve crime, and he's a lone wolf, Brenton, but maybe he gets a partner and he doesn't like the system, man. And yeah, let's hunt down this killer. That's Dirty Harry.
That was invigorating. What a pitch that was.
Thank you. Like, I feel like I've seen, like, you know this pitch. Like, you know, a man has to hunt down a serial killer, but maybe he's above the rules.
Totally.
You know,
he's above the rules. Yeah, Nathan, that's all that you really need to say to go into this film.
It's a very easy film to pitch,
Nathan,
I must say.
Yeah, well done on that. Even so, Nathan.
Yes.
What did you think of Dirty Harry?
Pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty good. I agree. Pretty good is exactly what I was going to say, to be honest.
Look at you and me bloody holding hands this episode. Like,
I know. Can you let go? Because my hands are starting to get sweaty now. Ooh. Give him a brush off. No, but seriously, what I like about this film, I would say, is its aesthetic.
Isn't it? It's like Brenton himself.
I like the way that this is shot, and I like that it's in I think it's panoramic Technicolor.
Oh, it is. The
It
saturation,
has
molto bene.
Yeah, man. It's like you get that gritty feel of this city. Like I love what it's going for. I like the vibrance of the colors on the screen. I like, but then I like how it's contrasted, obviously, with that kind of grit. And so this film has a real feel to it, and it feels dirty.
Oh, doesn't it? At one point, I this is not a spoiler. At one point, I saw a smudge on the camera lens in one shot. And like, it's like a tracking shot of Clint Eastwood walking, and I'm like, oh wow, they like had a spot on the camera lens. This film is literally dirty.
Yeah, man. It's a dirty. Isn't the word dirty just like the best word? Like dirty.
Oh, it's great.
You know, like
we'll get into title talk. I tell you what, like.
Anyway, I like Clint Eastwood in this film.
Are you getting Hugh Jackman vibes from Clint Eastwood?
It's funny you say that because I think Hugh did a Dirty Harry. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like, I do get those vibes.
Wolverine just pops out a fucking gun. He's just like, he puts away the claws. Like,
punk. You know. But I like Clint Eastwood's performance. For a plot that is quite contrived and some might say cliched.
Very, yeah.
I still think it's executed pretty well. I don't care for the villain of this film.
No. Although he is, like, I do genuinely hate him.
Yes.
Like, he's just a bad person. Like, there's...
He is a bad person, but sometimes I felt like... I don't know. Like, if we're going to make the Gotham comparison and we're going to say that this is the Joker to Clint Eastwood's Batman. Let's do the Gotham comparison that you brought up in your pitch. And let's say that this is the Joker to Clint Eastwood's Batman. Just think about that for a second. Okay, let's continue. I felt like for me the villain, whilst I liked and I didn't like him, as you say. I felt like he could have been stronger, I guess, in terms of its execution.
Like, do you think it was the performance or his motivations or like his actual crimes? Like, what was the weakness there?
Maybe I don't think it was the crimes. I liked how it was presented, even though, like, you know, it's very much ripped off the Zodiac killer and whatnot. But I just feel like maybe it was a bit of the performance, especially towards those end moments, that like the final confrontation.
There were some very weird decisions, weren't there?
Yeah, and also I guess to some extent the motivation as well. I wish that had been fleshed out a tiny
We
bit.
never really work it out, do we? Like, we never know why he does all this.
No, not at all. So, yeah, they're the things that surrounding... Like, that's the only real character in the film I have issues with. I like the introduction of the character. I like that we're kept guessing with, like, you know, it's his motivation. But I would have liked to have got some answers, especially... I feel like there was more of a chance to flesh that out, especially in relation to Clint Eastwood's character. As we know, he goes against the rules. And
yeah, especially because they have such a special relationship
there,
as well.
Totally. I think there was something more interesting in there that they could have got at. Because at the end of the day, my next question to you, Nathan, is that do you feel that this film is asking any real, like, I don't want to use the word serious. Do you feel like with the questions that this film raises, let's say, about the establishment, about the rules, and where the line is, and where, you know, do we need people like Dirty Harry as enforcers of the law to make sure that that the law is enforced, basically, or do we need to abide by the system, and where is that line? Do you think the film's really asking those questions, or do you think it's breezed over a bit?
No, I completely. This is my biggest gripe of the movie, Brenton, and I think people should know this going in, and I was very surprised by it. So the first 2/3 of this movie is Clint Eastwood hunting down this serial killer, right? He's trying to find Scorpio, which is like the stupidest fucking name for a killer, but we'll get to that later. So he's trying to hunt him down, and then 2/3 through the movie, the film suddenly decides, and it's a full action movie, like from these first 2/3, and then like 2/3 through, the film decides to grow a brain, and the last third is this weird kind of like legal drama about the ethics of what Clint Eastwood's doing, and it's never raised until maybe like the last 40 minutes of the film.
Yeah, no, I like the questions raised, don't get me wrong. I just think it was a tiny bit it was a bit clunky, like you said, like in terms of the pacing, well, not even the pacing, I guess, just in terms of the flow of the film.
I thought this movie was
like
long.
Like you said, it's like...
It felt long for me.
Yeah, and which is surprising because it's only like, what, an hour 40, I think, or something like that. So, it's kind of surprising in that sense that it feels a bit pacey and a bit long. But at the same time, like, even though it does feel that, I was still enjoying myself for the duration of the film.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think the pacing killed it, but like, especially because we're introduced to these big legal questions about like, oh, is Clint Eastwood ethical and all that kind of stuff. It's not really like it's not really foreshadowed at the start of this film. It's not read as this big thematic question, and when it's finally brought in, we as an audience feel like it's very interrupting the movie because it interrupts Clint Eastwood in his process of getting things done.
Again, I appreciate that it raises it. I think there's something really interesting in there that could have been fleshed out again. It's just maybe if like there'd been more of that at the start of the film, because I think that there's some serious ethical questions that it raises, and I just feel like to kind of brush over those issues, and you can't really. This film tries to have its cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? Like it tries to be a big like blockbuster. It tries to like have all these moments which are great. Like there's so many great moments.
There are great scenes. Yeah.
I just wish that we'd got a bit more of that impact towards the end that I think it was going for.
Yeah, like I don't know, because collectively the film's good. Like there's lots of stuff I love in this movie, but like at the same time, like I don't know, I feel like it's not as deep as it thinks it is. Like I feel like the film tries to think it's the Dark Knight without actually being the Dark Knight, because like you see like this serial killer like inventing new ways to torment Clint Eastwood in the city of San Francisco, and it is very similar to Joker in that way, but like I don't know. Clint Eastwood kind of doesn't give two shits as well. He's just trying to do his job. Like it's not personal for him, and like at the end of the day, like I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to see what this movie says, and I don't like, because I don't think when you mention that question about when you raise that point about the questions the movie asks, I don't think it's really advocating, we need men above the law, or even like we need men in line with the law. Like I feel like it's such an extreme example that like I'm not really rooting for either, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Like,
I think that's a really valid point.
But I do like that the movie, because Clint does some he does some unethical things, but when he does them, I never questioned them until like the movie started to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think the characters face the full repercussions of their actions?
Some of them do. Actually, a lot of them do, actually. When you think about how all these characters end up, I think a lot of them find consequences. But I feel like Clint at the... even Clint, I think, I really like how they wrap up Clint's arc. I think he really... We'll talk about them in spoilers.
I do too, yeah.
I think it does. I think it really does. But I don't think it's saying much about crime itself. I think what the movie's greatest advantage, it reminds me so much of Mindhunter, because it reminds me of an America prior to the serial killer. And like... and then what the introduction of a serial killer does to a community. You know, that how like, you know, kids are running on the streets, but now like they're no longer safe because there's a guy on the loose. Like, you know, how the world changed. Like, I do think it does paint a portrait of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The film's greatest strength is that it has this juxtaposition between amazing action sequences, truly tense action sequences, and then it dives deep into the PTSD that it affects Harry, and we see him slowly descend into a more desperate character.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of like, again, the technical aspects of the film, I think it's quite well shot.
I agree. That soundtrack is fucking incredible.
I think the soundtrack, is really strong as
It
well.
reminds me a little bit of Ocean's 11. It's got like this like guitar and drums kind of like bass guitar string-esque soundtrack.
Yeah, like, and I think that's what adds to the tension in some of these scenes. Again, I think the performance from Clint Eastwood is strong.
I do like that. You know, he does his own stunts as well. He climbs a fence at one point, which I was very impressed with. So like, they got a very athletic Clint. I was sitting there going, "Wow, he really climbed that fence," you know, and you know, he's very badass, and he definitely lives up to the stereotype despite his puffy hair. So I'm all for him, and he really is, because I haven't seen a Clint film. I don't think so. As in like him in a film, and it like he really is the peak of masculinity. Like, I'm watching him here, and I'm like, you want to be him, don't you?
Yeah, he's like hyper masculine.
Yeah.
He's like so.
He's so masculine that his face just doesn't move. Like,
Totally.
It is a bit weird, isn't it? Like, also, I do like his one-liners in the movie. He always has to like leave the room, but before he does, he has to like drop like a pun or like a one-liner or a badass phrase, and then he leaves the room like dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, like, he always has those one-liners, but like, yeah, I like the energy he brings, Clint Eastwood. I like that he brings that kind of stoic kind of gravitas, and by that I mean that like he enters a room and like, sure, he might seem composed, but but there's this underlying sense of tension of like, mate, he might just like he could do anything to solve the situation, I guess, and anything to the extremes as well. And so you're constantly like, oh, what's gonna happen in this scene? What's he gonna do? You know,
it's very true. Do you believe, Brenton, this movie should have been R, like with all the F-bombs and like the blood and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. I don't know. If he feels like, I feel like this is a deliberate attempt to not do an action hero. Like he's like this normal Joker. It reminds me a little bit of Die Hard. Like, he's just like this guy who just happens to be doing this job. Like, I feel like another director or another studio could have easily made this Dirty Harry guy like a PG-13 kind of cop who, in a similar story, would have just been more about the action than the actual thematic undertone.
Totally. Like, I appreciate that it's as dark as it is, and that it has, and by dark I mean like it just has, it shows the full extent of the violence that it's depicting. It shows like that there's the first scene in this film, like it shows like a kind of a gruesome murder of shooting happen, at the start.
And it's a lot better than the Road Games murder, I tell you that.
Oh my gosh, it was. Thank goodness. You know what? Before I sat down and watched this, I was having major Road Games flashbacks to that, because I was like, I fucking hope that there's none of that shit in here. You know what I mean? That like, that I buy it, and I bought it in this film. So kudos to that.
It is pretty good. I do love the deaths in this movie, and there's a wide variety of deaths. Like, I love the serial killer's briefcase that he has when he has his little gun rack in it. Like, it's pretty good. Like, they get very creative with the murders. So.
Definitely,
yeah, I do like the directions it take. I think this film is narratively interesting. Are there any big weaknesses that you think really stops this film from being excellent, Brenton?
In terms of weaknesses, I think it's that. I think it's what the discussion we were having before about the questions that this film raises, and when it raises them, how it raises them, and the execution of how it raises them as well. I think that's probably its weakest point.
Yeah, I would have liked it to see, like, how the Dark Knight so early on is like, you die a hero or live long enough to be the villain, and it raises that question so early on. I feel like that should have happened in this movie, if that makes sense.
I think there's a really excellent movie in here somewhere. I just wish it, like, in terms of its themes, it had really explored them a bit more throughout like you said, the duration of the film. And but at the end, again, I think there's some really strong moments in this film. I think it's got a really strong ending, opening, and it's very enjoyable to watch, I think.
Yeah, so I'm ready to rate it if you are.
Yeah, I'm despite those criticisms I gave it, I'm still going to give it a thumbs up. I think it's worth a watch, to be honest. Like, yeah,
Thursday night, I think this would definitely keep you entertained. Like,
yeah, totally, definitely.
Yeah.
I believe that's 2 thumbs up then for the both of us.
This is a question I do love asking you now and then, Brenton. How young could you watch this?
Oh, I would say,
if you're a family and you got 2 teenagers, are you going to sit all down and watch Dirty Harry? Like,
yeah, I feel like if you were like 14, 15, you could watch it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not that complex that you need to be an adult to really get what it's trying to say.
Totally, yeah. I was going to say 13, and I was like, maybe not. 14 and 15, I think, depending on the maturity of the...
Yeah, so definitely not you at 14 or 15, Brenton.
Yeah, no. Even me now, like, really, I shouldn't have been watching it.
He's still scratching his head. It's like, whoa, there are boobs in this movie? Like... Yeah, no, I think my thumb is up too. I think I was a little bit more critical like the second the movie finished. I think I was like, oh, I wanted more out of this movie. But the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I wanted more themes. I wanted more exploration of the ideology behind it. Because when it does come into the movie in the last third, I was like, where was this the whole movie? I was like, great.
Totally.
So
yeah, definitely.
So that's I wish the movie was more excellent. And like sadly, I think the sequels get worse from what I've seen. Or what I've read.
Yes,
so.
from what I've heard, I hear similar reports, which is a shame because But at the same time, I don't know if this needed a sequel. Like
I agree. I so agree. I will never watch those sequels because I think this is a perfect standalone film.
I agree. Yeah.
But no, my thumbs are up for this. I think
wonderful.
Most people will get a lot out of this, and I think they'll love the action.
Wow, we're agreeing this week. Wow. That's.
I know. Who would have thought?
I know, right? Well, Nathan.
Yes.
All that being said, I think it's time to move past all this, non-spoiler shit and get to our spoilers. This is my biggest question in the movie. Here we go.
Okay, I'm ready.
At the beginning of this film, there's a shootout scene that happens when Harry intercepts a bank robbery in progress.
I think I know what you're going to ask, and I'm very excited about this. Does it involve food?
Yeah, it does. He walks into a hot dog restaurant.
Yes.
And he sits down. And he says, hey, let's call the character Bob, just for, I don't know, I can't remember the character's name, but he says, hey, Bob, I will get my usual.
Yes.
And then Bob says, wait, your lunch usual or your dinner usual?
Like, there's a difference.
Yeah, like Dirty Harry says something along the lines of, like, does it make a difference? And then Bob's like, no, it doesn't. And he proceeds to, like, give him this fucking giant hot dog, to which Harry starts munching on. My question is this... Nathan,
yes.
How the fuck does... no wonder he's Dirty Harry if all he eats is a fucking hot dog. Like, the extent of his diet is hot dog. Like, holy shit, dude. Maybe he has some muesli or something in the morning for breakfast, but apart from that... hot dog for lunch, hot dog for dinner.
Like, that's his usual, because the man's fit. Like, we see him do athletic shit.
How is he as fit as he is if he's just having fucking dirty hot dogs,
Maybe that's like his treat of the day. Like, we're not like introduced to his breakfast or his dinners. Like, but then again, he says there's no difference, so we assume the man's eating hot dogs for lunch and dinner. So that's quite ravenous.
And he's clearly a regular at this establishment, so it's just like, man, like that, like no wonder he's dirty. He's so unhealthy. Like, for
maybe
fuck's
like
sake.
he has like a big healthy brekkie and maybe like a really nutritious midnight snack, Brenton. That's like what he's doing.
Yeah, maybe. What do you think his midnight snack is, if that's the case?
Oh, his midnight snack. I reckon he just eats a big steak. I can see him as a big steak man, Brenton. Like,
do you reckon he's eating some veggies as well, just for some like fiber? Like he's getting those.
I like the image of Clint Eastwood eating like a muesli bar or something like that, just like as he's going.
Or like he's just like sitting there at like 12 a.m. Sorry, and he's just like got a huge like stalk of broccoli and he's just like munching on it like raw.
Just as he's like stalking everyone at night, he's just like munching on some loud like celery, just like
that scene where him and his partner are like out looking for the guy with the tan briefcase. You just like see him driving with one hand and you just see this like carrot just like coming to frame. Just like
just to counteract the hot dog, and the partner's like awkwardly looking at him from the side like, what?
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck? Yeah. But Nathan, that's a big question, and I'm glad we're kind of addressing it. But that goes into like that shootout scene at the start, which I think is great, when he single-handedly like stops a bank robbery.
It's so good, but speaking of food, you do realize he's eating the hot dog that whole scene.
I know. He's just like, because he takes a huge bite of it. He takes a huge bite of it, and he hears like the commotion, the shots fired in the bank, and he's just like, oh shit. And he's still like munching on it as he's like,
I have to do my job again. Like,
and it obviously culminates with the famous line, which I kind of misremembered. Like, I haven't seen this film before, but obviously I kind of knew of the line, and I thought, you feel unlucky, punk, was I thought was the line, but it's not. It's, well, do you, punk? Like, it's
amazing because I was very surprised that the line happened so early on in the movie. I was like, oh,
same.
I was like, this is like the fourth or fifth scene, and it's kind of, it has no context on the overall movie per se. It's just like, I think it's just to show that he's a badass, and it's amazing. Like, he like shoots down everyone, like he shoots down the car, and he's standing there just like munching as he's doing it, and then like he goes up to the guy, and what does that guy say? He's like, I gots to knows, and he's like dying on the pavement. And then Harry like launches into this monologue, and it's amazing. It's truly incredible. But what undermines the scene, Brenton, is that at the very end of this movie, he says the same monologue again.
I liked that. I actually really liked that it came back again at the end, and he said the same monologue, but then he has that final shot or the final round and his revolver, and he takes out.
But Brenton, if he says it twice, does that mean he just says it every time he's on the job? Like, is this just like a thing he does?
I think it's like a thing that he checks in and he does it. You know, like it's like 3 p.m. hits. And he's like, right, time to find someone to fucking like mess with today, you know. And he's just like old lady on the street.
He was waiting for the bank robbery. He's like, thank God, I get to say it again.
He's just like some old lady on the street. It's like, hey, you might be asking yourself, you know, has he fired all 6 or has he fired 5 and there's 1 round left? Well, the question is, do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? And this old lady's like, I just bought some onions, please, so I'm trying to get home.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's just a weird thing because he's such a badass character, and yet he just loves the performance of this monologue. Like, I can see him doing it in front of the mirror, and I'm like, oh, Clint, like, good on you, mate. Like,
Nathan, please remove any sexual innuendo from what I'm about to say. But how big is that fucking gun he has?
Jesus. And even he knows how big his gun is. Like, he consistently points it out to other people. He's like, this is a pretty fucking good gun. And they're like, yeah, it's a pretty big gun. Like, it's huge.
I know, and he mentions it in that monologue as well. He's like, this is the most powerful handgun, you know, in existence. You know, it'll blow your brain, like your head clean off. It's like, yeah, dude, it's a big gun.
I love it. I'm going to insert a little fun fact that I want to say for later, but like that gun sales, like the sales for that particular like model, like skyrocketed after this movie.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And it's like, and you can see why, because especially the way like the gun's framed when he shoots people, it like takes up half the frame, and like,
I know,
it's loud and it's powerful. Like, you really feel it when he shoots people.
I reckon the recoil on that thing must be fucking huge, though.
Oh.
You know, like.
But he holds it like a boss. He just like, he has like no opinion on it. Like,
I love when he's like walking through the streets or whatever, and he just kind of like whips out his gun, like, and he'll just be like walking down with his gun as he's going to do something. It's like when he goes down that alleyway, like kind of midway through the film, and he's like looking there where they've spotted the guy with the 10 briefcase, and he's like, you go find a way around the back and I'll go in this way. He just kind of like just whips out his gun, and he's just kind of walking with it by his side. It's like, man, he's ready to go. He's ready to shoot first, you know.
I reckon that's like Clint's like years of doing cowboy films. That's like how they walk. I reckon that's just like embedded in all of his characters now.
For sure, man. For sure.
Can we talk about some of the stupid narrative things that happen in this movie, Brenton?
Such as?
Okay, how the fuck do the helicopters lose the serial killer on the roof?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's just like, really? Like, they've spotted him, a guy with a sniper rifle, and he
like
goes back
multiple
inside
helicopters
the
like are surrounding the building. The police are all alerted. It takes one fucking radio call from a helicopter to let them know where he is.
Yep, and then he somehow gets away.
It's just like, what are you doing? It's just, I do not understand it. Also, props to the helicopters for spotting the man on the roof. Like, I thought that'd be a little bit more tricky to do. They're not even holding binoculars. They're just doing it with the naked eye. It's like, have you been in a helicopter before, Brenton?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty difficult. I've been in one a couple times because we have a family friend who's a pilot. And, like, you can't see shit. So I'm amazed that, like, they managed to spot him on the rooftops.
Hey, mate, they've got those special skills, that police force, man. They're ready to fight crime, you know?
Oh, jeez.
What's funny, though, about that scene as well is, like, the sniper's reaction to, like, seeing, like, the officers, like...
Oh,
like,
man.
Ooh.
It's great! I can't tell if this movie wants me to laugh at him or not, because he's so fucking stupid. Like, he's like a little... Because you take him very seriously because he kills that person at the start, and you're like, oh, shit, this is a bad guy. But then, like, I love his little run when he, like, grabs the briefcase and has the gun in the other hand, and he, like, waddles away from the roof.
I know, right? I know.
He's just some fucking loser. Like, you just really see that. Like, even his face, it looks as though, no offense to him, but like, it looks as though, like, you know, it's been a little bit beaten up. He's gone through some shit. You're just like, what are you doing here, mate? Like,
He has this, like, this constant, like, dumbfounded look on his face, just like,
yeah.
Huh? You know?
It's just like, what are you doing? It's just... like, it's amazing that he managed to get away for the period that he did. And he thinks he's intelligent as well. Like, when he's like planning the revenge plot on Clint Eastwood, it's like, really? It's like he thinks this is gonna work.
Yeah. I love at the end scene too when he grabs that kid or whatever, like, and he has him at gunpoint, and he's like, I got you now, and then like Clint Eastwood just like lowers his gun for like 2 seconds and like raises it and like pinpoint shoots him in the shoulder, and he's like, Yeah, his reaction to... I love it when he's like... He says this twice. He's like, you shot me!
And he acts so fucking surprised when he does get shot. Like,
I know, right?
Like in the stadium, that's an amazing moment where he's like, I can't believe you shot me. Like he scares like a little like child.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't know. Like again, that's probably the only character in the film that I'm just like, I kind of had issues with in that sense that I was just like, this is just weird. This is a bit...
It's just weird, isn't it? Like...
Yeah, like, what's this going for? You know, like, is this meant to just be a crazy guy? Like... You know, like, I kind of want some consistency here, you know?
He's not that crazy, but he does just some weird shit. I can't believe that bus driver let him on in the first place, like, to be honest with you.
I know, right? I know.
Like, one glance at the fucker, you're just like, you're not coming on this child's school bus. Why did he have them sing?
I think it's because he has a soft spot in his heart for children, and he likes to listen to their voices as they harmonize, you know?
Oh my god. Like, yeah, he used to be in like a school choir, and he's just like, may as well get some practice while we're here, kids. Like,
yeah, maybe it's like, you know, that's, he likes to side hustle. Like, his side hustle is that he's a conductor for like children's choirs.
That's his whole gig. Could you imagine, like, he gets to the school bus and this movie just like seamlessly transitions into like Keanu Reeves' Speed? Like, the bus driver now can't stop, and then finally like Keanu Reeves just pumps out of nowhere. Like, would have been great.
Off the top of your head, what year did Speed come out?
Oh no, Brenton! Don't make us do Speed.
Well, you know why? What's good about this is that we have a special segment where sometimes Brenton looks shit up on the internet. Speed, 1994.
Oh my
Nathan,
god, Brenton!
It's a review that will be done one day.
Oh damn it! Why is Speed on the list? Is that it's got the stupidest premise I think I've ever heard for a movie, and that's saying something.
What is it like? It's like they have to stay above like 60 miles an hour or something like that.
Like, fucking bus,
the scene,
or the bomb goes off.
Oh my god! We're gonna review it one day, but the scene where like the fucking pram gets hit and then it's actually filled with like soda cans is the funniest shit.
Oh my goodness!
Ever. Like, fuck, it's great. Like, you're like, holy fuck, they took out that baby. Oh, that person was just storing their soda cans in the baby's pram.
Oh, it's the dumbest shit that's ever... Like, people should like the Schumacher Batman films. No, like, Speed is dumber. It's like, it's
still, like, from my memory, I haven't watched it in years, obviously, and I was younger when I watched it. It's still a good time.
Oh my goodness! I've only seen the odd scene from it. I've never watched it in its full because I'm like, I refuse to.
We will have to review it for the show one day.
Damn it, Brenton!
But until then,
speaking of buses, though, can you believe for like 2 seconds that Clint Eastwood jumped on top of a fucking bus?
Hey man, I can believe it. Actually, it's Clint fucking Eastwood. You know, like
also, like, why do they drive under that bridge? It's like they see him before he jumps on the bus, and like and the road continues. It's like go a different direction.
I know. Retrospect is a wonderful thing, though, is what I'll say to
isn't
that.
it? Brenton, do you like the suicide scene?
I didn't mind the... I didn't mind the scene. I thought it was quite a good scene. But
I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I'm like, this is great.
It was such a great moment. You know, there was tension. You're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, and he talks him out of it. But then the climax of that scene is just kind of...
Oh my god, he fucking
punches him.
I love it because the way Clint Eastwood does it is that he like does this like thing where he's just like he gives no shits if the guy dies. Like he truly, I believe him as well. I believe that Clint doesn't care if this guy dies, but like he goes up there anyway. He says a little thing, and the guy's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna vomit," and then he like collapses onto like the fucking like lever thing that Clint is on, and then Clint like carries him up, and he's like, "It's gonna be okay, mate," and then he like punches him in the face.
I know, right?
Oh. And he's because he's a large dude, so like Clint is barely holding onto him as he punches him out, and it's like you could drop him. It's like this could fall on you, buddy.
Exactly. Well, Nathan, the last thing I really want to talk about in spoilers is actually the ending, and we spoke about that. We liked how Clint Eastwood's or Harry's arc ended in this film when he throws that badge away,
which is completely undermined by the sequels if he continues to be a cop. You know, like.
Well, that's what I mean. This film doesn't need sequels. Like it stands on its own, and I do like that moment at the end where he kind of like he finally just like throws it away. He says, "You know what? Enough of that. Enough of that.
Yeah, enough of this." He just becomes Scottish for some reason, but like I do love it, and you could see it coming as well. Like you could see he was going to throw his badge once like the guy fell in the water. It's like because like he's got nothing. I don't know why he keeps doing it. I love like when he talks to his partner's wife, and she's like, "Oh God, like why do you keep doing it?" And he doesn't really know. I thought that was a really powerful ending, and you could tell it felt like an ending scene as well. Like we didn't need to see any more of this character.
Totally, yeah, I agree.
Did you like that he had a dead wife? I found it a little bit cliche.
I mean, yeah, it is a bit stereotypical, bit cliched, but you know, got to get some backstory in there at some point, and it's like,
jeez,
oh, what could be the thing that put him over the edge? I know, dead wife.
dead wife. It's like, no, it's not.
She's gone. She's long dead. Oh, that'll fuck you up.
Oh, I don't think he needed that dead wife at all, frankly. Like, even just like the shuddering, like neon light that falls on top of him would be enough to drive him over the edge.
Totally, I agree. Yeah, I don't think it's really that necessary. I'd agree with that. Yeah. But Nathan, now that we've spoiled the shit out of this film, I have a question for you because we're going into our special segments, Nathan.
So we like to do callbacks now and then to previous segments we do in the podcast and bring them back for a one-time reprisal.
Is this movie worth the remake?
It's funny because you and I both acknowledge that this movie could be better, right? Like thematically. To be honest with you, Brenton, I think it has been remade in other movies, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I feel like Heat does what this film's trying to do better. Like Dark Knight does this better. Even like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker does this better. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think this explicit story needs to be told. Also, the film Zodiac is probably... Like, have you seen Zodiac?
I haven't seen it. I really want to see it. But,
Same. We can't even do it for the podcast. It's too new. But, like, I'm curious to see if this is better than Zodiac.
Yeah, and see the similarities and differences and, you know... Yeah, maybe that's...
But sadly, we're not as well-versed in film, Brenton. Better podcasters would have been prior to this episode.
I know. I mean, like, we're not really like... We don't really hold any credentials to have like really started this podcast when you think about it. We're just two dickheads that, you know...
You're not wrong, mate. It's a miracle people listen to us. To answer your question, like, I don't think this explicit story needs to be remade. Like, even if they brought Clint back and made like a sixth one where it's like old Dirty Harry, I don't think I would have gone around it. Like, I think this has already been done. I think the story has already had what it needed to have.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it needs it at all. Nathan, my last question for you is, which two characters should have kissed?
Well, I mean, so many. It's one of our favorite segments, and there's so many who could have kissed in this movie. I mean, do you have a couple that springs to mind?
There is a relationship that is founded in this film, and that is between Harry and his new partner.
Oh, yes. We didn't really talk about the partner much. There's not much to him, is there?
No, there's not. But I feel... I was getting those romantic feelings between the two of them, you know? I reckon... Like, Dirty Harry... can you imagine the scene? Like, they're just in the car looking for the killer, and then, like, Harry just leans over to his partner and just says, "So I know you were asking him this before, but you want to know the real answer as to why they call me Dirty Harry?" And then, like, the partner's like, no thanks. And then he's like, "Well, I'll tell you anyway." And he just leans in and just starts going at it. You know what I mean? Just like...
Oh, whoa. Just when you think he's the peak of masculinity, this happens. It's like, oh, wow.
The fact that didn't happen was surprising.
It's like, frankly, this should have been a rom-com, if anything. Just do a 180 twist halfway through the movie, like, oh no, Clint's dealing with his feelings. He's like, fuck, I gotta take care of a killer, but also my partners I'm fallen in love with. Like,
yeah.
I tell you what, I think they definitely should have kissed. I'm gonna throw another couple into the mix, Brenton. It's Clint again, but also the mayor.
Oh my god.
Because there's this weird thing where, like, he keeps on, like Clint Eastwood keeps on, like, pushing the line with, like, the mayor, and he says all these, like, outlandish things to him. I like to think there's some sexual undertones to that. Like, maybe they had, like, a one-night fling, and, like, no one really acknowledges it, but, like, that's why the mayor doesn't fire him.
And Clint's just, like, giving him sass. He's like, "Fuck you, man. You left me in the morning."
That's why he slams the door and, like, says that, like, a line every time he leaves, because he's still dramatic about that one-night stand.
Totally. Yeah, his feelings were hurt. He was expecting a relationship, but...
But, Brenton, what stills this movie?
Nathan, let's talk about what stills this movie, because what stills this movie is a segment on the show where basically... myself or Nathan or the two of us together, we select a frame from this film, one shot that we think is either funny, that sums the film up, maybe that's something that's just like a beautiful shot that shows off some stunning cinematography or a location, maybe like a stunning vista, something that's like that we think is worth talking about. You can find these stills on our YouTube channel, Classic Movie Banter. Look us up there. Nathan, you chose this one this week, so tell me.
It's a great moment because like you know, the serial killer, like, oh, we never talked about this, man, but the serial killer, like makes Clint Eastwood, like, chase him around town, and it goes for so fucking long. They go to all these different checkpoints, and Clint's had it up, like, he's just had enough of it all, and he finally finds the serial killer. He chases him down. There's a bit of a shootout between his partner and the serial killer, and then Clint Eastwood stabs the serial killer from a hidden position in the leg, and the camera decides to show the serial killer's face as he's being stabbed, and he's wearing this red face mask, that, like, this burglary mask. We can only see his eyes and his mouth, And he fucking looks as though he's in like the most shocked pain you could possibly imagine, and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Nathan, if you had no idea what this film was about, and you just saw that we picked this as the still from this film, I swear to God, you'd think it was like a dead set like Monty Python comedy or something. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so unintentionally funny. Like the guy because he's again with this character, he gets so surprised whenever he gets injured. Like it's like, mate, like you're a killer. It's like, what do you think's gonna happen? And like, it's so great, and he has this shocked expression on his face, and he like kind of hobbles off awkwardly, like, and he like falls down a hill and does a tumble roll. It's like it's like slapstick.
Nathan, if I was like to sum up this photo, just everyone, I want you to look at this still right now. Have a look at this still and just like listen. This is the sound effect I feel like is being said at this point. Remove all context from this moment, so you know it's just like, hello.
He's like that fucking Simpsons character. I love it.
I know. It's bizarre. I think what doesn't help this as well is that like the black lining around his eyes and mouth.
No. Who the fuck wears a red like burglary mask? Like, it stands out so much. At nighttime as well.
Hey man, Tobey Maguire did in Spider-Man 1 and it was fucking awesome.
Oh my God. Actually, this does look a little bit like the wrestling Spidey mask. Like,
It does.
oh, fantastic.
So if they remake it, do you want Tobey to play the Zodiac killer?
Oh my, could you imagine? Toby could be a serial killer. Like,
yeah, he could be.
I can so see him playing a serial killer, and like it would work perfectly. Frankly,
I agree.
Like in his like soft baby man voice, like he just like stabs people. Like,
I'm gonna kick some dirt in your eye.
and he fucking stabs him. He's just like, oh. Even when he like pushes like Eddie Brock against like the wall and he smashes like that frame, like you can see the anger. He does an anger face good well. Like,
and then like just like hard cuts to a scene where he's like at the clubs. Now take on this.
Oh no, when Tobey Maguire gets stabbed, like this character in this movie, he goes, my back.
Like he walks into a scene and he's like, oh man, I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get one of these, and like everyone like kind of laughs like it's a joke. And he's like,
the camera pans and the old woman's like dead.
Yeah, he's like, no, really, I did.
Like she did. Oh.
Nathan.
Yes.
How did they make this making movie magic? Yeah.
How did they make this, Brenton?
Nathan, did you know that Andrew Robinson created a backstory for Scorpio, which involved him being drafted into the Vietnam War and seeing unspeakable horrors? And when he returned home to the United States of America, he found himself a figure of hate, and his war experience combined with the people's treatment of soldiers caused him to go insane.
Okay, if this was all explicitly clear in the movie, would it have made it better?
No.
No! Like, that's the thing! Like, you and I were like saying before, like, oh, it'd be great to know more about what this killer's about. But that particular story, no. Because also, that frames veterans as like, as mad, which they're not. It's like, no. But that does explain a little bit of why he's, you know, he chose the decisions he made in that performance. Jeez. Did you know, Brenton, that feminists in particular were outraged with this film when it first came out because, they said Dirty Harry is a rotten pig.
I didn't know this. I didn't know that they were outraged by the film.
I know, and like when I found this fact, because it had it on Wikipedia as like part of like, the release. Sometimes Wikipedia like it has like annotations next to like you know where they put their sources, and on Wikipedia it just has in brackets why ?
I was gonna ask like to elaborate on that, like what it was about the film that outraged the feminists so much.
I guess if you look at the female characters in this movie, and it is a fair criticism, like the only women we get in this movie is like the wife of the partner who doesn't get much to do, Harry's dead wife, the bus driver, like, and the naked woman who just like has sex for some reason with an open window. So like it's not doing any women favors. I'll give it that.
No,
also, the dead women.
I do agree with that. It's just more the statement of Dirty Harry is a rotten pig.
Yeah, he doesn't treat women that terribly in the movie, I would think.
No, I mean, like, he is kind of racist. He is,
we'll get into that.
He's very much, you know, he's got issues. Like, he's not a perfect human being by any stretch of the imagination, but, I'm just trying to remember a moment if he treats women poorly or does anything. But in saying that, like I do agree that like the female characters in this film aren't very well represented and aren't really fleshed out, so to speak. But then at the same time, I think a lot of the other characters apart from Harry aren't really that fleshed out either. And when we do flesh Harry out, it's not all that interesting, to be honest.
I agree with you. Yeah.
As is well known, Oh, it might not be, because you might not know this. Clint Eastwood actually directed the scene with the suicide jumper. It is often claimed he directed the scene only because Don Siegel was ill, but this is inaccurate because Siegel was indeed ill and wasn't on the set, but Eastwood had always been scheduled to direct that scene due to the difficult logistics of getting the actors, director, and cameraman and soundman all together on the top of that small ledge. In the shooting schedule, 6 nights had been set aside for the shooting of the scene, and Eastwood told the studio he could shoot it in 2 nights, and in the end, he shot the entire scene in 1 night.
Holy shit! Well done. That's a good...
Yeah.
No wonder Eastwood had made a good segue to a director career.
Yeah, well, that like on the back of that, I was just going to say, like, you can kind of see, like, with, he's obviously, like, a set of talents in the directing field that, like, he then goes on, obviously, to become a well-renowned director in his own right. And, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Like, good on him. Like, have you heard that Tom Hanks anecdote where, like, when Clint Eastwood directs, he tells them to, like... instead of saying cut, he goes, "That's enough of that." Tom Hanks, he tells this great story where he's just like, yeah, like Clint Eastwood, he's not like a usual director. Like, he's very just like he gives very little direction, and when he does, it's like to the point.
Totally. It'd be it'd be really interesting to see, I think, Clint work on a set, as a director, like.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, the man has the experience and knows what he's doing, so,
Although, if we're talking about Clint Eastwood, we should give a shout out to, the stall that he loves to shout out. You keep on shouting, Clint.
Keep it on.
Could you imagine halfway through this movie, like, Clint Eastwood comes across, like, a fucking stall and he just begins to rant at it, like... Do you know, Brenton, that, so Robinson, the bloke who played the serial killer, his performance was so memorable that after the film came out, he actually got death threats from unlisted telephone numbers.
Yeah, dude, I'd heard about this, and it's pretty fucked up.
It's a movie. He's an actor, and in real life, he's a pacifist, and he actually like hates the use of guns. Like
Yeah, I read this as well. This was going to be my next quote. That
there you go.
Yeah,
fucking ripped it from your hands, mate.
It's all good.
Took the paper from you. But yeah, and it's interesting because during the actual filming of the movie, the Robinson, he would flinch in discomfort every time he was required to use the gun. So which is so funny because in the movie it looks like second nature. And the director actually had to halt production and sent the actor for training on how to actually hold a gun convincingly. And
on the back of that obviously, because this is fair enough, I think, but Robinson was also squeamish about filming the scene where he verbally and physically abuses several school children, and the scene where he racially insults the man he pays to beat him up. So yeah, like this character obviously had to do a lot of heinous acts during this film that made him disliked, and obviously it worked because the public disliked the actor, but at the end of the day, he's just an actor. That's his job, and
it's his job. Like,
I hope he did all right after this.
Yeah, death threats are not cool, man. So, ooh. So hey, let's look at this film's poster.
Let's take a look, Nathan. What an interesting poster in terms of its color palette.
Yes, it is very interesting, isn't it? So for listeners who can't see this or don't want to look it up, it's like a red room photography kind of photo of Clint Eastwood, where the color negative, it's like him shooting, it's like on the right side of the poster, him shooting a hole in a glass, a little bit like the Spectre poster, and it's all in black and white, but instead Clint Eastwood's skin has been colored in with this like pink and yellow kind of hazing.
Yeah.
And it says underneath it like Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. And the punchline is, Detective Harry Callahan, he doesn't break murder cases. He smashes them. What are your thoughts on this poster, Brenton?
Look, I could have done without that little one-liner. I'm just going to go straight into fixing the poster because I don't think it's bad. I think the imagery's good. I think it's what it should have been. But get rid of that stupid Detective Harry Callahan, etc., etc. Just Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. The image is right of him shooting that fucking big gun with the smashed screen. I like that. Just change the color palette, I reckon, is the only thing I would do. Maybe some red.
Ah, there you go. I don't like the bloody drawing of him in San Francisco underneath it all. I don't think that's necessary.
No, me either. But I think the central image
I think
is
just a little bit of shuffling. Even like bring the whole picture down a frame, cut out that white part, and then have the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry in white font and just bring it up in the top left. I think just a simple Photoshop reshuffle would fix this poster.
Totally.
Brenton, I've been waiting for this for a while this episode. Let's get into some title talk.
Nathan, was there Dirty Harry and Dirty Harry?
Oh my goodness. This movie is probably the best movie we can do title talk for because part of the movie's narrative is various characters trying to work out why Clint Eastwood is called Dirty Harry. And as soon as I realized this is a part of the movie, I fucking loved it.
Nathan, why is he called Dirty Harry?
There's so many reasons. And it's funny because the first reason they give is because he's a racist, where I'm like, oh, okay. And it's the first time it's mentioned, and you're like, oh, he hates all races equally. And I'm like, that's a little bit weird to give your character that name. But I do like they acknowledged it because I'm like, oh, this movie did title talk. Well done. But then, like the movie just keeps on giving various reasons after that. Like Clint Eastwood says, oh, the job's dirty, so like I gotta do it because I'm the Dirty Harry. Like, it's fantastic. What do you think was the overall reason though that he got?
I've already given my reasoning. I got two main reasons. One was the first one was his sexual relations with his partner. I think. You
think the movie never shows it, but you know it's there.
No, I know it's there. I could tell.
Okay.
Nathan, the other reason is, I've already stated the other reason as well. I think he's a dirty, dirty man. I think he needs a good wash. Nathan, I'm telling you, call the fire brigade, get them to hose the man down, get a bar of soap, then scrub him everywhere, and then give another spray down with that high-powered hose again. You know what I'm saying? Just clean the fucker.
Oh, fucking love the title. It is, and by the way, great title as well, isn't it?
Great title. Maybe the screenwriters, when they were writing this, like had that as the title, and then they were like, well, maybe in just some scenes we just explore as to why the fuck he's called this.
Actually, that would have been a great slogan for the poster. Like, why is he called Dirty Harry?
Maybe that's the true reason behind this film.
Or what makes Dirty Harry so dirty?
Is the dirty literal or metaphorical? Nathan, shall we pass the power? Power to the people. Let's pass it to the people. The power.
We're passing it to the people. And the people have spoken, Brenton, because on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it 91% and the audience members gave it 90%. So roses are hurling towards the stage.
Holy moly, holy moly.
Oh, side note, would you love it if someone threw you flowers when you're performing? Like you get whacked in the face with a fucking bouquet?
Nathan, I would probably cry. Firstly, because of the pain of it whacking me in the face, but second of all, because of the emotional state I would be in of someone that was that caring enough to give me flowers.
Could you imagine, like, because I'm trying to imagine, like, going to the theater nowadays and, like, someone, like, genuinely, like, the front few rows, like, brings a bouquet, presuming the performance is going to be amazing, and just hurls it at the stage. Like,
fuck
bring it back, I say.
Yeah,
like,
do it, guys.
I
Please
love
do
it.
Please do it.
I wish other mediums did it. I wish you went to the cinemas, and for some reason, someone just hurled, like a bouquet at the screen, and the projectionist is like, hey, we have to clean that now.
One can only dream, Nathan. One can only dream. So, Nathan, let's look at these reviews that have been selected here, because we're going to start with Octavi Marty, giving it a negative review and saying the plot is neither new nor original.
I mean, he's not wrong. Like cop hunting a serial killer is definitely not new or original, but do you think the lack of originality hurts this movie?
No.
I agree. Like, it's funny. I think in other movies that we've done the podcast, that's definitely a big criticism of mine. Where I'm like, what's the new thing that this movie brings to it? But I definitely don't think that's what bogs down Harry.
Totally, I agree. I don't think. No.
Charles Cassidy from Common Sense Media. He liked it, Brent, and he gave it 3 out of 5, and he said, "70s rebel cop classic is way too edgy for kids."
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone took their children to the cinema for this, and if they did, what are you doing? Like. Do you reckon this would have really spooked you as a child, though?
Hey, man, like, all I'm saying is that my dad took me to see Lord of the Rings when I was 5 years old. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That is very true.
Like, so, yeah, I mean, Kenneth L., he wrote 3 stars and said, "Done dirty by coddling judiciary that takes the Constitution too seriously. Our hero was forced to finally break all the rules to bring down his main monster." Like, do you think this film, like, is a little bit, when like the lawyer starts bringing up all the amendments and that kind of stuff, like, do you think like the legality of all that kind of stuff bogs down the movie? Because that's what this guy wrote it against.
No, because I think, I feel like it was just its execution. Again, I feel like it could have been really interesting to explore these things. But maybe, if it had been a bit more established, it would have been less coming out of left field, I guess. John Sparks says, if all cops were like this, violent crime would drop 75% in a year.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but also if all cops were like this, like, the world would be, like, unlivable. Like,
we'd be
like,
living
you would
in
cough
like
and you'd be, like, beaten up in the street, you know?
Yeah, you'd be, like, living in a constant state of fear of just, like, holy fuck, that cop is literally carrying his handgun ready to shoot at any moment. Fucking hell. Better, like, hopefully I got my license on me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like, jeez. Like, I love this comment from Degree 7. He said, "Can you become a cop with a sociology degree?" Because it's so true. I love it when Clint's trying to make small talk with the cop, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I did sociology." I was thinking at the time, like, really? How did you get in the force? Like,
yeah, dude, it's a funny moment actually. Like, degree 7. Hey, you never say never is all I'll say to that.
oh gosh,
Nathan, that's Dirty Harry. He needs
that
a
was
wash.
Dirty Harry. Oh gosh, is that boy dirty or what?
Hose him down. That's all I'm saying. Guys, thank you so
Oh,
much for
geez.
joining us for this episode of Classic Movie Banter, number 79. 79, Nathan. 70
I
fucking
know.
9.
What a bloody milestone! I tell you what, we're bloody racing through these episodes. Like, I can't believe we're next week we're going to be in our 80s. Like, we're going to be near death, Brenton.
I know. We're on the other side. You know, this isn't going to end well. Is all I'm going to say. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, well, one day I'll see the light. Like maybe during an episode, and the SWAT team will try to protect me, but I'll be gone.
I'll just whisper to them in their ears, like, shoot him now while he's looking up. Like,
guys, as always, you can contact us and tell us what you thought about Dirty Harry and whether he needs a wash at our Twitter pages, at our email address, or you can comment on one of our YouTube videos. Or as always, just listen to our content on the podcast app, on SoundCloud, or, as we said before, on YouTube, guys.
yeah, and stick around. You know, like next week we're hitting 80. It's a new season, Brenton. Since we're rolling into December, so you know what that means, buddy.
I know what that means. I do know what that means.
We're going back, buddy. We're going back to our top 7 lists.
Can't wait. One of my 4 favorite times of the year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I genuinely look forward to it. Like, now, whenever there's a new season, I'm like, fuck yes. Like, it's like whatever the dread I feel for Bond episodes, it's outweighed by like the 7 seasons.
if you're a new listener and you don't know what we're talking about, wait till next week's episode because
Tune
you
in
will
next
not
week.
be
Yeah,
disappointed.
it'll
We
be a
can't
blast, I can
wait
tell.
to show you one of our specials. But until then, guys,
Well, Brenton, you're probably wondering,
what?
did I record 6 episodes or 5 where I just trash talked you to all the listeners? Because in all my confusion, Brenton, I couldn't really keep track. So I gotta ask you one question, Brenton.
What's that?
Can you get the fuck out of my house?
Okay, come on, guys. Come on. Everyone out. Now, yeah, grab the pile of Band-Aids. Come on. Gotta get out. Yep, he's had enough. Yep. I know, what a sook. Bye. Bye, Nathan.